Timothy Hoyer, pastor at Gloria Day in Lakewood and Bethlehem and Faulkner. You often say that 60% of your time as bishop is dealing with conflicts in congregations. Am I correct?
I don't know that I've ever said that, but I don't know. I've never counted it up, but I do spend a lot of time doing that. Some of it, anyway.
So could you tell us how has this been going on this year in churches and how you've been using the gospel to help solve congregational conflicts?
The primary group that works with conflict in this synod is the Conflict and Healing Team. I am just deeply, deeply indebted to them for the kind of prayerful approach to listening that they do when they are in congregations, the conversations that they have with members of the congregations, with pastors of the congregations, and the incredibly intense and deep deliberation that they do before they make any recommendations moving forward. That is the primary group that works with all of those things. In previous years, I am really, really happy to say that for a whole year now, almost a whole year now, 9 months, 10 months, I haven't had any misconduct phone calls, which is just a really, thank you, Jesus. We've got to keep working at that, but that is true. The year before I had 4, and so a huge amount of my time was spent dealing with those. But every one takes an incredible amount of time. The resources that we use tend to be scriptural. We often do things around services of reconciliation and forgiveness and healing, sometimes congregationally, sometimes with individuals within the congregation. The Conflict and Healing Team is deeply grounded in both the biblical witness, and some of our folks have received training through some of the organizations that do this kind of work, like the Lombard Center. I'm not going to get the name totally right. Somebody else may have that. But there are groups in the country that have specifically trained people in prayerful, discerning approaches to this kind of stuff. And we have people on the team who've been trained to do that kind of work. So that's the short answer. Is that enough for what you're looking for? There are about, I think we're up to about a dozen people. Tim, are you in the room? About a dozen people, lay and clergy, who are part of that. If any of you feel you have special gifts for that, we will always be open to adding to our numbers. We meet about 3 or 4 times a year. We review cases. I think the thing I'm most excited about is that I can name 3 or 4 congregations that we weren't sure were going to survive, that are now thriving, that the Conflict and Healing Team worked with. And what we're discovering is that it takes not just the intervention and the listening of the team and the recommendations, but what it really takes is 2 things: the commitment of the lay leaders and the pastor in the congregation to following through on those recommendations, and doing a lot of learning and conversation themselves. And secondly, somebody, often a nearby pastor, who can shepherd them through that. And we have just been so blessed. The 2 people I'll name today, I hate to single people out because I know I'm missing somebody, but the 2 people I'll name today are Pastor Diane Wheatley from St. Paul's in Liverpool and Keith Campbell in Redeemer in Rochester, who have just single-handedly in some cases, but always with a team of people, shepherded congregations back to health. These are pastors in a neighboring congregation who have attended council meetings for a year to help them to move into a healthier place. And it's just so exciting now to be able to name congregations that are thriving, that we worried that we were going to lose because they were just all caught up in conflict. So God can always make things new. We just have to try to create the space to let that happen. And it's not always easy. Thank you.